Hey there, dads. Welcome to half term. That's right, the very first half term of 2023. Whoosh. And here we are, right? January gone and most of February now gone. It's also been like 6 or so weeks. Here we are at the half term point. Really honest question for you. How's it going? How's it been? And I ask this because a lot of the dads that I work with, and it certainly was me in my 20 years working in the financial services industry, every January, it was this crazy time, right? Because there's this sort of relief and sense of achievement from the previous year because you will have worked your butts off and got certain, results and outcomes for your company, and you can feel good about that. But then there's this really awkward reset of, right, it's the new year, new performance management, new targets, new objectives. Like the whole slate is clean. The targets and objectives, I almost guarantee you, are higher than they were last year. You nearly burnt yourself out last year delivering higher targets. These are now even higher. The economy is even worse. How on earth are you going to, how are you supposed to deliver that without, like, you feel like you haven't got any more to give? You've already given everything. You're not spending that quality time with your family that you want. How? Right? So it's this really awkward position that you find yourself in. And a lot of the dads that I work with, they also kind of make a conscious promise to themselves. And sometimes they write it down as, right, this is my promise to myself, or it's just in the back of their head of, I just want this year to be different. I want to be better, have better balance. I don't want to work as long hours. I want to spend more quality time with my family. I want to be present with my family. And they make this promise, and I made that promise to myself every year. 20 years I made that promise to myself. And I tell you what, it just got more and more out of control. Because certainly by this first half term, things have just gone back to how they always were. I didn't have a new strategy for how to deal with all the work. I certainly didn't have a new strategy of how the heck I'm supposed to get even, reach higher targets and objectives in a worsening economy. And I went through plenty of those. So it was, you start doubting yourself and you're like, what is going on? How am I supposed to do this? So here we are, February half term. Genuinely, honestly, how's it gone? Because on top of all of that, the kids have gone back to school. We've got the after school clubs. We've got the homework. You've got relationships with your partner, with your children. You're trying to do this balance, and you promised yourself that it would be different. You would spend more quality time with them, but there's probably two camps right now. Some of you, that's just not happened. You've already, in the busyness of life, in the busyness of business, you've already got swept up in all that, and you're still using the same strategy as you used last year, which is work harder, longer, and hope, wish, and pray that somehow it's going to work out. Why is that working out for you? So if that is you, there's no judgment here. I did it for 20 years, right? I don't recommend it. It's not a badge of honor, but if it is you, I just want you to take some time this half term, and hopefully you have got some time off. And if not, just take a quiet moment just to reflect and go, right, that was the first half term. How did it go? What was the balance like between work and your family? How did you feel about that? How exhausted were you, or how much energy did you have and you were able to give them? What experiences have you had with your family? Give it some thought and think, right, for the next half term, not the next half a year or the whole year, some grand vision that then just kind of discombobulates you and you don't do anything. Just look at the next half term and go, right, it hasn't quite worked out how I would like. I haven't got that balance that I would like. What are you going to do in the next half term to address that? What are the things at your disposal to be able to help you with that? Be that some of my support, or be that getting somebody in to help you and support you and give you some more guidance. Again, that is what I do. It's what I'm here for. But just give it some thought as to what are you going to do differently? Because unless you do something differently, you're going to get the same result. And in fact, what I know is if you continue this, if you just keep trying to work harder and longer, ultimately you don't get the same result. It just gets worse. There'll be all those things that we don't like to admit. You know, the stress, you know, the overwhelm, the frustration, the exhaustion, the resentment, the guilt, yeah, all that stuff that we do, you know, bottle up inside. We don't like to admit it to ourselves, let alone anybody else, right? I can tell you now, that stuff builds like a snowball going down a mountain. So just take some time right now. If this year hasn't quite started how you would have liked, if you haven't got that balance, if you've got swept up in how you usually do things and it's already feeding out of balance, just give it some thought. You've got the next half term. What are you going to do differently? Who are you going to get in? What support are you going to take notice of? What are you going to do differently? What action are you going to do differently to get a different result? You know, and not 97 things, just one thing. Just identify one thing that you could do. And that might be, look at my top 30 tips. It might be looking at my belief busting blueprint. It might be getting my free roadmap. It might be giving me a call and saying, hey, can we spend some time just going through stuff so that I can figure out a strategy, a plan for the next half term? Now, there are going to be other people that maybe are making progress. Brilliant. Carry on, continue that, right? Even share some of the stuff that you've done differently, because I guarantee you, you will have done things differently. Even if 80% of what you've done is the same, there's going to be that 20% where you've just made some small changes, some small commitments that have then actually made all the difference. So if that's you, if you made that promise to yourself, even with all that, the reset of objectives and all that kind of stuff, but you're feeling like, actually, I have got a bit of a better balance than I did have. Brilliant, right? I want you to celebrate that first off. I'd love it if you could share some of the things that you've done to inspire other dads. And also, what I want you to do, and this isn't me being some kind of naysayer, because that ain't my way at all. I just want you to look at the next half term. I want you to really be conscious about what might get in your way. What could trip you up? What could slow your momentum down? And by definition, what's going to keep you on track? What are the things that you're going to look out for, and what are the things that you're going to be able to do to make sure that you keep up this momentum, that you keep that balance that you've already got, or even improve it even further? Be deliberate and intentional about it, because when we kind of just let it fly, when we just leave it to the four winds and hope and wish and pray that somehow it's going to continue or get better, it doesn't work like that. You know, we've got to put in some time, some effort, some energy, some action to make these things happen. So if it hasn't quite worked out right now, it's okay. It's okay. There's still time, right? You can make a choice, a decision to take some different action at any point. And that would be a really, really good point. And if you've been making that progress, brilliant. How are you going to continue that progress and not trip up and not slow down? You know, what are you going to continue to do? And what are some of the things that maybe could get in your way of that? You know, it might be a story or a belief you have about the world or the business or you or the family, or you might be going, this is one of the things that I come across is dads start making some progress, but in the back of their mind, they're thinking, but this will never last. So they literally self-sabotage themselves. They'll then catch themselves doing things that takes that balance out of kilter again. And it's like, no, we were making some great progress. It's like, so what's going on? Oh, yeah, but it was never going to last anyway, was it? It's like just these little stories and beliefs that we have. It can last. It can get even better than it already is. But we've got to work on it. We've got to make that progress. We've got to take that action. We've got to be deliberate and intentional about it. And if that's me, if you want to talk this through with me, then that's what I'm here for. You know, I'll provide the link, you know, for my calendar so that you can book a call with me, a free call, and we'll go through it. We'll go through the next half term. Not big, heady visions. Let's just go through the next half term and see what you can do either differently or in addition, or how you're going to continue what you're already doing. I'd love to support you. So those are my thoughts. Those are my February half-term thoughts for you. I hope they've been useful. You know, carry on being the amazing dad that you are already. Carry on being that and look to see what you can do and be better. Absolute privilege and pleasure to support you. Thank you.